Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. In today's electric guitar lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Need Your Love So Bad by Peter Green, well, the Peter Green Fleetwood Mac version. There's a full free PDF, it's 4 pages long with all the tabs and the chords that you need for this lesson. You can download from the first link in the description. That'll take you to my website and you just literally go on the page, click download PDF and it's there for you to use. If you like the way that I teach, I'd encourage you to check out the Kirklees Guitar School Academy, where every lesson I put up here on YouTube, there's some extra bits to help you get across the line, such as a technical focus lesson specific to that song and a full playthrough so that you can jam along with me, along with downloadable backing tracks. You can get into that with a 14-day free trial in the second link in the description. So, let's have a look at what we're up against. So this piece has a couple of different sections in it. It's got the lovely intro, which I'm sure you're all here to learn how to play. It's also got a verse which goes around 3 times, a bridge section, and then an outro which comes back to the lead. Okay, so here's what we're going to go for first. Now I've left out this 9 over here simply because we're going to be coming back to that in a second. Okay. We're going to start on the 9th fret of the G string, and I want you to use your middle finger for this, okay? Because what we're going to do immediately after playing this 9th fret, we're going to do a position shift, and we're going to move that middle finger up to the 11th fret, up to that G flat. We're then with the index finger going to play the 10th fret. And then with the ring finger, now I put the ring finger on the 12th fret and I put the middle finger behind it, so I'm pushing the string up with 2 fingers because you need a lot of control for this. I'm going to bend the note a full step, so I'm bending that note, the equivalent of 2 frets on the guitar. I'm bending the 12 so much so that it sounds like a 14. But then can you see how the arrow comes back down? So what that means is I want to bend it up, bring it down, and then without picking it again, I know you've got another 12 there, but it's in brackets, it's a tied note. Once you brought it back down, you want to bring it back up, and then you see these wobbles above here. This is called vibrato. So you're going to bend it up, bring it down, hoik it back up, and then give it a wobble. Like that. Takes a little bit of practice. And once you're up there, give it a wobble. This Les Paul's quite old and hasn't got a lot of frets left, so it's quite hard to keep hold of them. But the whole thing... Can you see how we dip it down? Pause the video and practice that bit for me. I like to think of lead guitar parts in chunks, and I'd consider that the first chunk. We're then going to hit a rest, so you don't want this to ring out for too long, so you're going to stop the string reverberating, and then just before the next bar you're going to play. So middle finger again on that 11th fret. The whole thing centres around you having this middle finger. If you try and use your index finger, where I'm telling you to use your middle finger, it's going to be really hard work for you. It'll feel a bit odd at first, but persevere for me, okay? So you've got 11th fret, and then we're going to play the 10th fret of the B string, that A note, and we're going to hammer on to fret 12. Hammer on from A to B. In the right key. And then we come back to that 11th fret. And then we play the 10th fret again, that B note, and can you see there's some vibrato attached to it? And we're going to come back to home on that G flat, F sharp, whichever way you want to think about it. Technically, we should say it's F sharp because we're in the key of A, aren't we? Now, can you see how there's a rest immediately after that 11? After you've played that 11th fret, I want you to kill it. Now, you might be able to hear the reverb of my amp trailing off, but you shouldn't do this. It's not what he's doing. It's part of the kind of vocal quality that Peter Green's playing on this record. There's so much space in it, and it's a really important study for a lot of... If you want to get into blues lead guitar, this is a stellar example. So let's glue those two together. Pause the video and practice stitching those two together. If you're feeling keen, I want you to remember this 9th fret, just like we started the entire phrase on that 9th fret on the G string. We're going to play it again, and then we'll pick it a second time going into the second line of the PDF. Can you hear how I played that 9 once, I picked it again, and then slid into the 11th fret. 10th fret, 12th fret, A and B. Back to that F sharp, and then back to that A again. Now, can you see how we've got this? We're spending a lot of time around this sort of pentatonic box, aren't we? Lovely sound, lovely major pentatonic kind of lick. So you've got... And again, loads of vibrato on this 10th fret. Can you see how this one's in brackets? Well, this means it's a tied note again, so what that means is you're not going to pick it a second time. You're actually going to hold on to this 10 for a significant amount of time, so much so that I had to lump another note in to make it add up to the note value, the length that I needed it to be in the bar, okay? And then you've got a quick kind of back and forth between this F sharp and A note. And I'm picking down, up, down on those notes there. Then we're going to go to this. 12th fret here. So it's the B note, but we're actually going to bend it the equivalent of 3 frets on the guitar. Can you see how it says bend 1.5? So you're going to bend this 12 so much so that it actually sounds like a 15. Now, it's very kind of Dave Gilmour-esque, is this? Dave Gilmour likes to do those kind of bends. If you're struggling to get that all the way, you could pick the 13th fret and do a full step bend, but I'm trying to be as faithful to the record as I can. And can you see how I bend it a tone and a half, and then I bend it a half step? It's almost like I'm going... You also want to double check that your... It's going to make your guitar go out of tune if your strings... Well, to be honest, it'll make most guitars go out of tune if you practice it for long enough. It's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with your guitar. They're just not actually meant to be bent that far, the strings. So you're going to bend that 12, a step and a half, and then half a step. Yeah, how it has that. It almost sounds like a bottleneck slide, doesn't it? It's got this lovely kind of... this lovely feel to it. And then we're going to tag this on. 11th fret, 10th fret. You see that bend comes up a full step and back again. But then what's different here, we pull off. You see, once I bring that 12 back down to sort of home, to bass, I pull off. And then you've just got this 11th fret here over by itself. So the whole line. Don't put slide in there. There's no slide on there. That's just me taking a bit of artistic license. Okay? That's the next lot. Pause the video if you need to get under your fingers. The best way to practice this stuff is to, personally, when I was learning how to play this, because I've played this song for a long time, but I always refresh them before I'm going to do lessons on them. I split this up into chunks. So I would get that under your fingers so that you're happy with it and it sounds like the record. I would then independently practice that and get that under your fingers, and then I would glue the two together. And I almost think of it as like Lego. You just keep bolting a bit on, and over time it turns into the full thing. Don't look at, I think it's an 8-bar phrase, the intro off the top of my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it's 8 bars with a lead in, okay? Take it just one little chunk at a time. I'll link in the show notes below. Me and George did a podcast where we actually break down this song into chunks, and I teach you how to do it into little. Just break it down into bits so that you can do it, and then bolt a bit more and bolt a bit more. And this is how I learned that stuff anyway. Right, stop waffling. Back on. So we've done. Into the next bit. Then we've got this lovely little bit here where we're just going to bend the 12th fret on the B string and the 12th fret on the high E string. It's just got this, you've got to just watch your timing on it. And he puts vibrato on the second one, okay? And you see how there's a full step, there's a full step bend, but there's also a 2-beat rest in there as well. Make sure that when you bend that note, kill the strings, so... And it adds that punctuation that you're looking for, with particularly with blues soloing, okay? It's well worth your time studying this stuff. We're then going to bend up the 12th fret half a step and pull off. It's more just bending it ever so slightly out of tune. There's a lot of that. That 12th fret in this example can be bent half a step, a full step, or 1.5 steps. Keep your eye on these little numbers on top of the bends and make sure you're doing it properly. If it doesn't sound like the record, it's probably because you're not bending accurately enough. We go back to that 12. So you've got... And then this is very similar to what we've done previously. There's a 10th fret attached on the back end of here. This is why I want you to go get the PDF, guys. It's really well worth your time. So we've got 11th fret, hammer on between 10 and 12 and back to that F sharp. 10th fret, and then you're gonna, like we've done here, where we bend the 12th fret and then pull off to the 10. That's what happens there. Sorry, I got a bit muddled up. There's a lot of licks in here with a lot of little nuances that don't carry over, and it'd be quite easy for you to just kind of play the same licks throughout, but it's not. They're all kind of ever so slightly different, and they all kind of melt into one if you're not careful. Right, let's have a look at this end bit. So that's that 10th fret that I was talking about. Can you see how, if we go back to the previous slide, you're going to bend that 12th fret and pull off to 10. Here. Right, there's a couple of different ways that you can play this. I've opted for this one. It's what sounds most accurate to my ears. I'm going to play the 11th fret on the G and the 10th fret on the B to create this little dyad. And then, as quick as I can, going to go to the 10th fret and the 8th fret of the B and the high E strings. And can you see how there's another rest here? Make sure you pause in between. Don't worry about these three dudes just yet. This is dead easy in comparison. Let's get these two down first. And I'm doing downstrokes for both. Now, personally, at the top note I'm using my middle finger and the bottom note I'm using my index. Those of you that can't stretch your hands as far as I can, you might want to use your ring finger instead. But I found myself tripping up. I was tripping up going to the high E, the B and the high E strings there. You're then going to take that shape, move it up 2 frets, and it walks up in a kind of bluesy turnaround type way, where if I'm watching, you've got 12 and 10, 13 and 11, 14 and 12. Lovely. Right, so now we're going to get into the chords. So what happens from this point? You should be heading towards. It's titled on the PDF at the bottom of page 1 as a verse. Now, this chord progression is really interesting. I'm actually going to do a technical focus in the academy. I'm going to talk about how to solo, mixing major and minor pentatonics over this. There's actually no guitar in the record, or that I can hear anyway. I'm sure somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But oftentimes like this, I'll get asked to play songs, and I don't know what is supposed to, what I'm supposed to play, because there's no guitar on the record. So, rightly or wrongly, I've taken a little bit of artistic license. If I'm a working guitar player, I go out and earn a significant portion of my living from playing gigs. If I was tasked with playing this on a gig, this is what I'd play. Now, it uses a lot of bar chords. Here are the chords that we're looking at. To start with, this is included in the PDF. Now, I'm using predominantly bar chords. If you're struggling with this pattern, I'll show you an alternative in a second that you can do. But this is personally how I would play it, and there's some beautiful chords in there. You know, I'm sure not many of you have seen D sharp diminished 7th before. or even that A7's a little bit different to how some other people, and that F sharp minor. So this is personally how I do it. Now what I'm taking from this, I'm taking a, do you know I'd Rather Go Blind by Etta James, or something like Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton has this kind of, I'm kind of going for that vibe with this. Let me show you what I mean. So that's the whole verse. Okay, I'm going to break it down into some smaller chunks, but can you see how I sort of play the full chord, do what I call an ice pick chord? I'll play like a short, sharp stab, and then it's all right in the world again. Now we're in 12/8 time, so these bars are really, really long. You might think that it's going to go back really, really fast. It's not. So that A chord, I'm playing this chord over here. I'm playing the top chord on the top left. Okay? So I'm going to play this A chord. I'm going to strike the whole chord. I'm then going to play the sort of top 60% of the chord. It's not an exact science. Can you see how when I strum, do a big nice long strum, and then I'll sort of give it a quick smack, but after doing so I'll relieve all the pressure on the chord. I'm not letting go, because you see you get that reverberation, but I'm just letting go of the string enough to give it like a sort of like an accent. That's what that little arrow means. And then we're going to go back to strumming the chord nice and lovely. So you've got the nice lovely big chord, stab with a rest that comes after it. That's you stopping the strings from reverberating, and then you're going to do it again. So you'll go. We'll go to A7. D major, and then this D sharp diminished seventh, which is it's its Sunday name. Let's have a look at that. So I'm looking top right now. So I'm playing the middle strings. Now this is introducing a little bit of harmonic spice into the song. Okay, and it's part of, you'll have heard this in like turnarounds and things, but you won't actually have played the chord. Best advice I can give you, like with the intro, use your middle finger to lead the chord. That's where your D sharp comes in. Index finger sits on the G string, and then you bookend those seventh frets with the ring finger and the pinky. And you've got this lovely kind of and even it takes me a second. It's just enough to make your listeners' ears prick up, okay? Now, if you're struggling to get the sort of even the chord shapes, let alone the rhythm, you could be quite easily just play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. You could just play the first beat of every bar and let it ring out, because you're not always the centre of attention in a band, are you? As a lead guitarist, you need to, like, when it's your time to shine, it's your time to shine. But also, you need to learn when to let everyone else have a go as well. So that's the first bit, and we very much continue the same thing. This is the second half of the verse. But can you see how we're starting to introduce some extra chords? Now, with this A chord, just like we did previously, the A and the sort of the big chord and the stab are identical to what we've done. But then what we're going to do for the second big lovely chord in that sequence, this pattern that we're following, we're going to play a different chord. So this F sharp minor looks like this. Let's have a look on the diagram. So I'm looking bottom left now. F sharp minor. It looks like a D minor chord, doesn't it? It's a D minor shaped triad, but I've moved it up so that my index finger's on the 5th fret. This comes up again in another lesson I've got coming. I'm doing Message in a Bottle in a couple of weeks' time, and that's the same. It's got this D minor shape, but we're moving it up so that your index finger's on the 5th fret, and that's actually an F sharp minor chord. Is that? It's lovely. So you've got. Then we're going to go B minor, which is E minor shaped bar chord, E major. Then you've got this very kind of blues turnaround type. I think it helps with that sort of ice pick thing. If you're wherever the accents come in, listen out for the snare drum that Mick Fleetwood's playing. Pretty sure it was Mick Fleetwood. Listen out for the snare drums. That's what I'm trying to mimic. So that's the whole thing. Now, can you see how we've got repeat markers here? Now, what this means is you've got essentially you're going to play the first 8 bars, and then when you repeat it for the second time, so you've gone all the way through until you're looking just where that bracket comes in. I'm looking bottom left, the A to the E chord with the 1 and the bracket above it. So what that means is that's what we call an alternate ending. The first time round, you're going to finish it with an A and an E. The second time, you're going to finish with an A and then an A7, which is just the same shape that we've done previously, where you got the A and we go put the pinky out here. I call it the Beatles A7. It's how they like to play it in some of the early stuff, you know, Twist and Shout and that kind of stuff. Now, following that, you're going to get into the bridge, and I've very much done the same thing with the bridge because there's a lot of orchestral stuff on the recording, and I looked at a couple of live clips, and particularly like I try and find modern ones because the audio quality is a lot better, and the sort of more modern performances of Peter Green playing this, he's barely playing anything at all. He's not really there, is he? If you know anything about him. So again, I've taken a bit of artistic license with a little bit of picking. Now this can be interchangeable if you prefer the style that I'm playing in the bridge section, which I'm going to show you. You can sort of transplant that into the verse and vice versa. There's no kind of rules with this stuff, and that's kind of what I like about it. So let's have a look. The bridge does it occupy the second page entirely? I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, more or less the second page. So we're going to break it up into chunks. Now, there's a lot of the same chords here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start picking the notes out. So this D chord, I'm going to play. See what I'm doing there? I'm picking 3 notes. I'm picking essentially the power chord, 5, 7, 7 on the A, the D, and the G, and then I spank the top end of the chord. Really interesting sound. I do the same with the D sharp diminished 7. If I play it properly, that's it. Now, this D chord, you might see that I play it like this, and I've notated it in the chord sheet that way with 2 bars as well. This is how I play a D chord because I can't physically get my fingers in to that at the top, which means I sacrifice the note on the high E string. And that's why I've not notated any of them that way. If you want to play it like that, by all means be my guest, but like, look at my hand. I just physically can't jam them all in, especially as we get sort of further up to the dusty end. So that's the start of the bridge, and I've kind of got the ice picks in the beginning. And then for the next section, can you see how I sort of go to this sort of arpeggiated... And I'm essentially, can you see how throughout all of this, I'm following the bar chords, A, E, A, A7. I'm following this group of 6s, okay? So I'm going, on this A chord, I'm going E string, A string, D string, all with downstrokes. And then I move my plectrum down and I pick up on the B string, and I'm going B, G, D. For the E string, I essentially do the middle 4 strings. And then back to the A just like we did. Change to the A7. Looking at the bottom left now, I'm going to take a B major chord, so that A that we've just been playing, take the whole thing, move it up 2 frets. And it sits on this for 2 bars. So again, it's almost a bit sort of sleepwalk-esque, isn't it? That's what I'm kind of going for with that. You could even put in a little bit of palm muting, make your guitar sound a bit angrier, and something like that. I don't know. Artistic license. Entirely what you want to do. And then at the end of this chorus, this bridge section, you'll see there's quite a bit of the sort of band sort of start getting quite aggressive. Now, what I've chosen to do is I've chosen to play the chords that the band are playing, but make them power chords. And I'm sort of doing this. So let's have a look at what's going there. I don't know whether to use drive or not. It's up to you whether you want to use a little bit of overdrive. So I'm going to accent this E5 chord. It's an E power chord, so I'm playing fret 7 on the A string, 9th fret, 9th fret on the D and the G, and I'm going to give it a smack. I'm then going to palm mute for 2 bars. Sorry, for two quavers. So I'm putting my palm on the edge of the bridge here to sort of make it sound chunkier. And I'm essentially going to repeat that because we're working in groups of 6s because we're in 12/8. So you're accenting the first one, 2 palm mutes, accent the second one, 2 palm mutes. And that's all on an E5 chord. We're then going to take that shape up to F5, which you take the whole thing up a fret. So you're going to go to fret 8, 10 and 10. Follow the same pattern. Move it back down to E5 over here. And then we're going to play an E7, which is, it's like a C chord. It's like a C chord shape. Let's have a look. Where are we? Bottom right. That's how I'm going to finish that with. Now, you might hear the band doing some other bits, but I want to give you enough time to head into the next section, which is the verse. Now, this is the last time that you'll play the verse, and you don't repeat it this time. And can you see how it follows the formula of the first repetition, apart from just a little bit of a lead part at the end, which we'll talk about in a second. But there's nothing new here. Sorry, D first, then D7. Nothing new here. Exactly the same as what we've already done. Right, let's have a look at this ending. Now we're heading on to page 3 for the final part of this song. So this outro is very similar to the intro. There's a couple of tiny little nuances with the licks. And you can I can hear Peter fishing round for certain ideas. And he's kind of sticking around in that same pentatonic box, but I want you to exercise the same amount of control with the bends as you did in the beginning. There's some lovely licks I'm definitely going to be stealing out of this. So let's have a look at this. Now, we've just come from here. Now, he actually preempts the intro by playing a little lick beforehand. So that sounds like this. Yeah? Now, this has caught me out a few times, and you nearly caught it on camera. I'm so used to going to the 10th fret of the B string after that 11th fret. Like we do in the intro. Keep an eye on this because he is kind of experimenting a little bit. So I'm picking the 11th fret again with the middle finger. I'm bending the 12th fret up, bring it back down, and I'm pulling off to the that A note. And I come back to the 11th fret where I started. Then, as technically the first bar and the first beat of the ending starts, which is at the top of page 3 of the PDF, you're gonna pick this 12th fret on the B string, bend it up, bring it down, bend it back up like we did in the beginning. And then you're gonna go to the 10th fret of the B, and then it's a nice little call and response. Lovely. And you're going to hang on this 10 again for a significant amount of time. You're going to rock back between this F sharp and this A note. Again, watch out for the bends. I misplaced that second bend and it sounded gross, didn't it? Now notice there's 2 picks of this 10th fret here, okay? Those are a lot closer together than you think that they're going to be. Just be ready for it. A quick down and an upstroke with the plectrum will solve that. And then, oh, where have we gone? There we go. Right, this is the final kind of like decent chunk, okay? We're going to pick the 12th fret of the high E string, bend it up, bring it back down. And again, can you see how we're going to actually branch out of the position a little bit and go to that 13th fret. And then this 11th fret's the start of the next phrase. Now, starting from this 11th fret up to where the vibrato is, I love this lick. This is the lick I'm going to be stealing. So I'm going to pick the 11th fret with the middle finger. Well, I'm pressing with the 11th middle finger, finger 2. I'm going to bend the 12th fret of the B, 10th fret, 12th fret of the high E, and then I'm going to bring that 12 up and down again and put vibrato on that 10th fret. Really conversational and vocal-like, and you see how we're rocking backwards and forwards. This is lifted from the beginning. You remember the 2 bends in the beginning, and just like how we finish the song. This lick's the one that I like again. It's a bit like John Mayer's Gravity. There's a lick so good, you know, he plays a lick in the beginning of Gravity and it sounds so good you can just tell he has to play it another time because it sounds ace. It's a bit like that. Right, tones wise, what's he using? So I did a little bit of research into this because it's very Strat-like is the tone, but it's actually Greeny, his famous 1959 Les Paul. The pickup in that, the magnet was switched around in the neck pickup, and it met the pickups in the middle position do what we call go out of phase, which means that the waveforms coming from each pickup, they almost cancel each other out. If one's going one way, one's going the other. That's what's happening if I understand it correctly. I just play them. I don't really understand any of that stuff. How do we get his guitar to sound like that? Now, this guitar in particular is very dark sounding. I'm using the neck pickup for all of this. My first port of call would be, if I was playing the other Les Paul that I've got, I'd probably start with the middle pickup. It's just that I know this guitar sounds good a certain way. I'd start with the middle pickup setting on whatever electric guitar that you've got, and I'm using a Fender Deluxe patch on my Quad Cortex. If I was using something like a Boss Katana, I'd use the crunch setting but turn the gain all the way down and potentially have something, a pedal on the floor, tube screamer or something like that, just to add a little bit of extra gain for the and then I could turn it off for the maybe. Entirely up to you. It's Peter Green used his Les Paul, and he used, according to the research that I've done anyway, Mat Amp amplifiers, which are essentially what orange amplifiers turned into, which is like a big, clean British sound. Something Marshall-y, you'd probably get close, but just don't use too much gain. It's all kind of coming from the tactile touch of the guitar, particularly the lead parts, so I'd watch out for that. If you'd like me to cover some more Peter Green stuff, let me know in the comments what you think would be a good one for me to look at next. Make sure you head to the website and you get the free PDF that you can download completely for free. There's no sign-ups, no monkey business, no nothing. You can go and get that. And I'll put on screen as well, I did another Peter Green lesson not so long ago. If you'd like to check that out, you enjoyed this one, you'd like to check that out, I'd urge you to go over there next. I'll see you next week for another electric guitar lesson. Thank you so much.